Ladies and gentlemen, Mount Victor Revue.
Study nuclear science, love my classes. I got a crazy teacher who wears dark glasses. Things are going great, and they're only getting better. I'm doing all right, getting good grades. Future so bright, I gotta wear shades. Gotta wear shades. Got a job waiting at my graduation. 50,000 a year, I'll buy a lot of beer. Things are going great, and they're only getting better. I'm doing all right, getting good grades. Future so bright, I gotta wear shades. Gotta wear shades. Mr. Bob Zellner. Heavenly blessed, worldly wise. I'm a peeping Tom techie with x-ray eyes. Things are going great, and they're only getting better. I'm doing all right, getting good grades. Future so bright, I gotta wear shades. Gotta wear shades. Mr. Joel Whittinghill. I study nuclear science, I love my classes. I got a crazy teacher who wears dark glasses. Things are going great, and they're only getting better. I'm doing all right, getting good grades. Future so bright, I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades. Thank you. And welcome back to WKU. And I guess welcome to WKU for some. Where's our new faculty staff folks? All right, there you are. Well, welcome to WKU. We think you have found a great place to work. I've been here 23 years and love it here. And welcome to Bowling Green. If you're new to Bowling Green, we think you found a great place to live, too. In fact, we wrote a little song about it. Question is the same. They can tell I got swagger, can tell I got game. They say, tell me there, young man, from where do you fall? I say, this place in Kentucky where heaven's a local call. Once they set foot, then they know what I mean. You gotta love it here in Bowling Green. Well, it's beachy at the pin, ain't no hassle at the castle. You can head out to the ballpark, get Roscoe and Axel. Get your sweetie down to pack taking a show. There's really no limit to places you can go. Irish pubs, local food, and of course a music scene. Oh, you gotta love it here in Bowling Green. Well, some call it Bed City, some say top of town. But if you think that's all there is, then you haven't been around. Friendly like Mayberry, but there's way more to see. If you're cool enough, we'll let you call it BG. City, some say top of town, but if you think that's all there is, then you haven't been around. Friendly like Mayberry, but there's way more to see. If you're cool enough, we'll let you call it BG. So go get down in the valley, get up to the hill. You'll never get bored, you're bound to get your fill. If you need convincing, then just come out and see. You're gonna have a blast here in good old BG. Once you set foot, you see what I mean. Oh, you gotta love it here in Bowling Green. Well, there's only one place that I wanna be. Oh, you gotta love it here in Bowling Green. Come on into town and you see what I mean. Oh, you gotta love it here in Bowling Green.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to love here in Bowling Green. We'd like for you to participate in this one a little bit with us. See if you recognize it. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a polka, you know. There we go. Stand up and cheer for dear old Western. For today we raise the red and white above the rest. Rah, rah, rah. Our boys are flying, and they are bound to win the parade. We've got the team, we've got the steam, and this is dear old Western's day. Cheer for dear old Western, for today praise the red and white above the rest. Rah, rah, rah. Our teams will fight, and they are bound to win the parade. We got the team, we got the steam, 'cause this is dear old Western's day. Hey, all right.
Well, how about that to get your motor running on a Friday morning? Thanks, guys. How about Mount Victor Revue? Bruce Kessler, Chris Durbin, Eddie Mills, Joe Whitting Hill, Bob Zoller, and Ernie Small. One more time. Well, welcome to beautiful Van Meter Hall for our 2014 faculty and staff opening convocation. And a great welcome to those of you on our regional campuses in Elizabethtown, Glasgow, and Owensboro who are joining us via video streaming. I do want to recognize members of our Board of Regents here with us this morning. I'm sure that we have some members of I know 3 or 4. If you're a member of the Board of Regents, please stand. I'm not sure exactly which ones are here. Members of Regents, please stand. Thank you, David. Thank you all. Thank you, David. Thank you for coming from Lexington. Glad you're here. What an exciting time to be at WKU as we begin the academic year and welcome new and returning students for the adventure of a lifetime. Indeed, an experience to prepare our students for a lifetime of learning, responsible behavior, and success. As we get started this morning, I want to thank everyone who is here this summer for taking the numerous traffic adjustments in stride. Between the State Highway Department and our own summer projects, we had lots of detours and street disruptions, but most of it is finished. Thanks for handling them well. Next month, I will complete my 17th year as WKU President. And even with our continuing budget reductions, enrollment challenges, and greater federal scrutiny, I remain convinced that our best days as a university community are ahead of us. And I am inspired by the growing academic quality and greater value we are bringing to our students. During the last 17 years, Julie and I have had the opportunity to watch two of our sons graduate from WKU, welcome two wonderful daughters-in-law, welcomed a couple of grandchildren, WKU classes of 2029 and 2033, raised 5 dogs and 2 cats, and presided over 59 commencement ceremonies. With all of our challenges, I've never been more motivated or more inspired to begin a new academic year than I am today. I look forward to getting this year underway and will work every day to ensure that we have a place where students dream big and where we help make those dreams come true. WKU has lived the 3 words on our university seal, life, more life, for 108 years. We have reinvented ourselves several times over. We have changed and adapted, and we will continue to do so. The current generation of WKU students has witnessed a transformation which the Board of Regents challenged me to lead in 1997 and to which we have all been dedicated. We have become a complex institution with constantly changing parts and people, but our traditions have remained constant, our ideals have remained strong, and our commitment to students continues to drive us. Perhaps our biggest challenge is making sure we continue to meet our students' needs day in and day out, and those needs are changing. Meeting those needs means a caring attitude on our part, a strong commitment to student service and learning, awareness of their fears, their apprehensions, and their challenges, and a diligence in maintaining our 4 campuses. And certainly we must make sure that we have the financial capacity to deliver on the promise of a WKU education. Before getting into my remarks this morning, I want to acknowledge, as Mount Victor Revue just did, our new faculty and staff among us. This year we have 40 new faculty and 50 new staff joining the WKU family. Once again, with all of our new faculty and staff, those beginning your career at WKU, please stand us and once again allow us to welcome you to the Hill. New faculty and staff. Thank you. This past academic year brought us unprecedented success and progress in many areas. It was filled with classic examples of ways in which we're achieving our bold vision of becoming a leading American university with international reach. And we are indeed achieving that vision. Perhaps the greatest measure is the success of our students who were awarded a broad range of nationally competitive scholarships this past year. Not only are WKU students competing with the best American universities in such scholarly recognition, they are also expanding WKU's international reach, as most of their scholarship awards involve global learning. Our students certainly raised the bar this past year, as a record 42 students earned recognition in national scholarship competition with over 50 awards valued in excess of $1 million. We in fact met our 2017-18 action plan goal, which was 42 awards. That was a 44.8% increase over the prior year when 29 national and international scholarships were earned. And we just learned this week that an alternate for Fulbright was indeed awarded a Fulbright, Clarice Itch. These awards will allow students to travel to 19 different countries, conduct research, and complete graduate degrees in the U.S. and abroad. And as you can see on the screen, our students earned 15 Gilman scholarships, 6 critical language scholarships and 1 alternate, 6 Fulbrights, 3 National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowships with 2 honorable mentions, 3 Goldwater scholarships with 1 honorable mention, the maximum allowed by any university in America, 2 National Security Initiative for Youth scholarships, 1 National Institute of Health, Oxford, Cambridge scholarship, and a National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Fellowship. We also had our first Rhodes, Marshall, Gates Cambridge, Truman, and Princeton and Africa finalists, and our first Mitchell semifinalists. Yes. This success tells me, and anyone who understands the competitive nature of such awards, that we are recruiting and nurturing superior students and opening their eyes to such opportunities, and that you, our faculty and staff, are personally engaged with students capable of achieving such honors. You will also see on the screen the 18 countries where one or more of these 42 students will be pursuing their scholarships and earning their prestigious awards. Indeed, international reach at a high level. Congratulations to Dr. Audra Jennings and her staff in our Office of Scholar Development, and to all the faculty who helped guide our students to these recognitions, which all American universities strive to achieve. Thank you, and keep up the great work. And speaking of achievement, congratulations to Eric Kondratief, an assistant professor of history, for his Loeb Classical Foundation Library Fellowship, an international competition which provides a $35,000 salary enhancement for the academic year in support of his scholarly research. Eric also won a 2nd consecutive National Endowment for the Humanities Summer Stipend this year. Well done, Eric. But this is one example of the scores of fellowships and grants that our faculty have received to support their personal scholarly activity. Last year was also a good year for our programs that you are well acquainted, with which you are well acquainted, which are no stranger to national recognition. For the 6th consecutive year, the Carol Martin Gatton Academy of Mathematics and Science was once again named to the Washington Post list of top performing schools with elite students. And as you know, Newsweek magazine named the Gatton Academy the #1 high school in America in both 2012 and 2013. No rankings have yet been released for 2014. The School of Journalism and Broadcasting finished first in 2 of the 4 categories in which the William Randolph Hearst Foundation analyzes academic performance of journalism and broadcasting students. And they tied for 2nd overall in what is known as the Pulitzers of college journalism. The top 10 ranked schools of journalism and broadcasting do indeed represent good company for our journalism and broadcasting students to share. And just a few weeks ago, College Magazine ranked WKU #4 among America's schools of journalism and broadcasting, and this is a separate ranking from the Hearst competitions. Yes. Our forensics team returned to the top by recapturing the American Forensics Association National Championship in April in Tempe, Arizona. Well, WKU senior Nick Gilliard was named the overall best forensics student in America. This was WKU's 8th AFA championship. And by the way, the WKU forensics team also again won the National Forensics Association Championship and the International Forensics Association Championship last year, a uniquely WKU trifecta. Also in April, our civil engineers placed first overall in the Ohio Valley Student Conference competition at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. The regional competition includes the best engineering schools throughout the Midwestern states, including the other 2 engineering programs in Kentucky. Thought I'd throw that in. Several WKU students and public radio staff were honored by the 2014 Kentucky Associated Press Broadcasters Awards with first place awards in the college division, including Best Newscast, Best Feature Story, Best News Story for TV, and Best Sports Coverage for TV. WKU's public radio staff, not to be outdone, had awards including honors in the categories of Best Long Newscast, Best Long Late Night News Feature, Best Sports Feature, and Best Website. And these awards are accompanied by a host of honorable mentions throughout the television and radio public broadcasting spectrum. And the WKU PBS team was recently recognized with its 17th Regional Emmy Award, this one for the Symphony Choral Finale, which aired on WKYU PBS on July 4th, 2013. Congratulations to David Brinkley, Jessica Gibbs, Jordan Basham from WKU PBS, and to Jeff Smith from Campus and Community Events for this year's Emmy. And speaking of traditions, the 2013 WKU Talisman won the Gold Crown Award from Columbia University at the College Media Association 2014 Spring Workshop. This is the Talisman's 6th Gold Crown. The Talisman is one of only 4 yearbooks in America to be awarded the Gold Crown, joining 3 other powerhouse university yearbooks for last year's honors. Just this last month, we celebrated what I consider to be a monumental moment for this institution. The National Safety Council Site Review team made an announcement that WKU is now the 25th designated safe community in the United States, and we're only the 4th university to receive such an honor. And what a great confidence boost to parents and a compliment to all of you who made this campus one of the safest in America, and thank you for that. And how about the WKU track and field star Jessica Ramsey, who excelled in the NCAA track and field championships in the shot put, discus, and hammer throw, and earned All-American honors in all 3 events. And not to be outdone, our men's 4x100 and 4x400 relay teams finished 4th and 5th, respectively, in the NCAA championships, leading to an 18th place overall finish for our men's track and field team. And then there's Big Red, who finished 3rd in the nation in the prestigious National Cheerleaders Association National Dance Alliance Championships in Florida in April, and who will once again be in the Capital One mascot competition this football season. Go Big Red! Finally, and not necessarily in the category of a national award, but WKU faculty and students certainly found themselves in the national spotlight when a cave ceiling collapsed at the Corvette Museum last February, swallowing 8 rare Corvettes. The expertise of our engineering and our geography and geology faculty were called upon immediately, and they, along with our students, and our students played a key role, have worked diligently with officials throughout the year to determine the cause, to remediate, and to stabilize the area. For their efforts, WKU received considerable media acclaim on nearly every network, newscast, and media publication in this country and abroad. What a unique and amazing opportunity to gain hands-on experience for our students. And just last night, Julie and I hosted the Gatton Academy senior students to our home for a meal in the backyard. And one of those students who created the instruments, the drone, to get down in that subsurface area while it was unsafe and before anybody knew what to expect, was a Gatton Academy graduate who's now in mechanical engineering at WKU. And I told Will and those students, preparation meets opportunity. We had the instruments in design, already fabricated, but they'd never been used in a real-life situation until they were called that morning. But because our students and our faculty were prepared, the opportunity struck, and they went to work and made a very dangerous situation safe because they had actual data that could help in the remediation and the control of that most unusual situation. Preparation meets opportunity. Seldom is it luck. So I want to commend our students and faculty in engineering and geography and geology. Over the course of the last year, we took international reach to a new level at WKU as a growing number of our students engaged in transformative global experiences. In fact, our study abroad participation has grown by 50% since 2010, as a record 642 students studied in another country last year. We also welcomed more than 1,100 students from other countries to study on our campus here in Bowling Green, thereby increasing the likelihood of international reach for our domestic students who may not pursue a study abroad opportunity. Our international students are wonderful learning resources for all of us. We need to embrace them, serve them, understand their anxieties and apprehensions, and ensure that they complete the degrees which they are here to pursue. We all need to make new friends from other lands and engage our domestic students with them whenever possible. And when our students go abroad, help them learn what it means to become immersed in a different culture. In this regard, 45% of our study abroad students were engaged in a semester or more of study. These students see, experience, and taste things on a human level rather than through a classroom experience. And the data is clear that overseas study in college helps young alumni in the global marketplace. This truism is becoming more and more apparent in the countries where students choose to study, countries where America does business in the economic marketplace. It's cliche, but students tell me frequently that their experience abroad was indeed life-changing. And national studies are confirming that more and more students are claiming the most significant aspect of their undergraduate years was studying in another country, often ranking higher than college friendships and traditional courses. One of the more impressive growth dynamics in our campus internationalization is the fact that now over 30% of our student teachers are student teaching abroad. Superintendents and principals, like corporate CEOs, are more likely than not to zero in on a global learning experience in a job interview. But it is important that we remain diligent in making sure that our study abroad experiences are indeed academic in nature. Study abroad is not tourism. It is immersion-based learning, no matter what language or on what continent. In order to facilitate global learning, I'm pleased to announce that we have received official notice that we are now authorized to open an on-campus passport office. Yes. Our campus post office in the new Downing Student Union is now taking applications for U.S. passports. Good work, Marshall Gray. One more step in our parade of international services. One of the best examples of our growing international reach is our Confucius Institute, founded just 4 years ago. We're now receiving some $450,000 in annual funding from the Chinese Education Ministry. We have 38 teachers through our Confucius Institute teaching Chinese language to students in area school districts, perhaps including some of your own sons and daughters, as my grandson, Julian, my grandson, received Chinese language lessons as a kindergartner at McNeil School last year. We have 8 Confucius classrooms across our region devoted to a specific Chinese cultural theme. Such classrooms exist in Logan, Hardin, Davis, Breckenridge, and Warren counties. One of the more unique features of our Confucius Institute is the Mobile Chinese Learning Center, which travels throughout Kentucky, bringing a bit of Chinese history and culture to students who might not otherwise have such exposure. And of course, most of our students have to walk through China to enter the Helm Library. The Chinese Learning Center in the Helm Library is a reminder to students that we live in a multicultural world where language and trade will certainly play a role in the futures of all of our students. And nothing demonstrates international reach at WKU quite like the horrifying ordeal experienced by John All, geography and geology professor, who was rescued after falling into a 70-foot crevasse in the Himalayan mountains in May. Social media sent the story of John's near-death experience across the globe. Amazingly, John survived and is already planning future climate change research and projects in Antarctica and elsewhere. Now, most of you likely saw John's video or one of his many media interviews, but there's another aspect of John's story that you may not know. Professor All, following his rescue, was taken to a hospital in Kathmandu. At that very moment, Aaron Brzezowski, who had just graduated from the Gatton Academy and was engaged in a WKU teaching program in Nepal, was contacted by Clinton Lewis, our university photographer, who was closely following John's situation on Facebook. Here is Aaron's message back to Clinton immediately after John was checked into a hospital in Kathmandu, Nepal. Clinton, I just now checked on John at the hospital. He seems to be doing quite well. He looks like hell, honestly. His face is banged up, a dislocated shoulder, rib injuries, some back injuries, some internal bleeding, but he should be out of the hospital in the next few days. The injuries were bad, but he's going to make it and be just fine. His spirits are incredibly high as well. He seemed excited and a little bit surprised to see a WKU student checking on him here in Nepal. Now that is international reach in action from both a faculty and a student perspective. Another important dynamic in our campus action plan is sustainability. Our campus-wide sustainability strategies are defined certainly by our conservation efforts and our drive to save money and natural resources through our campus behavior. But my eyes were further opened this summer when I traveled on a ship in the Baltic and North Seas near the Arctic Circle for 18 days with 5 faculty, a scholar in residence, and 4 student life staff studying climate change. 45 students were divided into groups focused on the science of climate change, its economics, the challenge of communication, and understanding how global warming will affect current and future generations. We saw firsthand how climate change is being addressed in Iceland, Sweden, Denmark, and northern Scotland. What was driven home to me is that we have great faculty and great students doing incredibly immersive and applied learning, not just in the 4 disciplines I observed, but these examples are replicated across our 6 colleges in numerous academic departments and graduate programs. What I learned and observed on this trip challenged me to be personally engaged in academic exercises whenever and wherever I can, and it is further evidence that we, as a campus, are indeed having a global impact. Specifically on this trip, we reached a climate change research agreement with the University of Akureyri, an impressive university at the Arctic Circle in northern Iceland. They will partner with us and the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center to create a 3-way research partnership which will engage our faculty and students in the pursuit of solutions to global warming and rising sea levels, connecting both ends of the Gulf Stream. Our students will be returning to both Iceland and Belize often in the future. I also want to acknowledge Professor Rasul Mahmood, the Associate Director for the Kentucky Climate Center and the WKU Mesonet, for his work on the 1,100-page National Climate Assessment, which was unveiled at the White House in May and presented to both houses of Congress. This 3rd National Climate Assessment Report is an important document for our nation as it will drive policymaking in the future. Rasul was one of 60 contributors who oversaw the report's development over the last 3 years and helped author the report that includes analysis of impacts on 7 sectors: human health, water, energy, transportation, agriculture, forest, and ecosystems, and the interactions among those sectors at the national level. It assesses all U.S. regions and particularly focuses on Kentucky. Well done, Rasul. An emerging campus-wide focus on the environment and sustainability will help us search for solutions to sustain a vibrant economy and to ensure a high quality of life while finding ways to preserve natural resources and protect the environment. And I think we can all agree that future generations should live in a world that we have enjoyed and hopefully will not be further diminished. So I challenge all of us to behave in ways that will conserve and sustain our campus resources, but also develop a curriculum which reflects the knowledge, the skills, and the values that our students will need to lead responsibly in the future, to remediate damage already done, to find solutions to a growing list of climate change challenges. A WKU education needs to ensure that our graduates, whether they be in the corporate, educational, or nonprofit sectors, help guide the stewardship of our natural capital on which we all depend. So my last acknowledgement of our 2013-14 achievements is a shout out for once again making the Princeton Revue's 5th annual edition of America's Green Colleges. It is also good to be on the U.S. Green Building Council's list of 332 green colleges in America, and to once again be recognized as a Tree Campus USA. How about that? As we look back on the past year, we must acknowledge that it was a difficult budget year. Yet another state budget cut coupled with a drop in enrollment combined to leave us with about a $5 million budget hole to fill. While we have weathered what has been an ongoing storm since 2008 and have done our best to minimize the impact on campus jobs, both faculty and staff, that was unavoidable this past year. We made the difficult decision to address nearly $1.1 million of the budget cut by eliminating the university subsidy to WKU Health Services. This helped to relieve the budget reduction pressure for every academic and administrative department across our campus, but it did result in the loss of several full-time positions. I'm pleased, however, that we have successfully negotiated an agreement with Graves Gilbert Clinic to operate here at WKU. They are here, on the job, at work, and ready to meet the healthcare needs of our students, our faculty, and our staff. We welcome Graves Gilbert, and we embrace their cadre of healthcare professionals and medical services. The biggest budget variable for us this last year and for the current year relates to enrollment and retention. While our freshman class numbers were down slightly last year, our admission staff and many others, many of you all across campus have worked hard to reload and recruit a first-time full-time freshman class, which is now back in a stable trend line with 3,583 new first-time full-time students arriving this week. And while the numbers are important, the growing quality is most impressive. The average ACT score as of yesterday of our first-time baccalaureate students has risen from 22.7 last year to 23.39 this year, which puts us at the 71st percentile nationally. And acceptance rates in every one of our scholarship categories were up. We should also be mindful that our enrollment as our enrollment stabilizes, so too will our revenue profile. We are cautiously confident that the offset of fewer part-time students with more full-time students will strengthen our budget profile. Perhaps our greatest challenge is to retain students and help them persist at a significantly higher rate than in the past. Serious dollars are at stake, and we suffer the consequences of an enrollment revenue decline due to students leaving us prematurely this past year. Putting the financial dynamic aside, it is just wrong to allow so many students to fail to finish at WKU. We are graduating just over 50% of our students in 6 years, and we're still losing 25% of each freshman class within 1 year of their initial enrollment. So for our students' sake, if not for our own financial stability, please become part of the solution to keeping our students at WKU until they graduate. When students fail to finish, they hurt themselves and the United States economically. More importantly, valuable human capital is lost. Our core function is to take large numbers of first-generation college students and teach them how to study and learn. Many of them don't know those skills when they get here. We need to give them the tools to succeed. And good students often leave us as well because they fall behind and simply never learn to study, to manage their time well, or to get connected on campus. This may be especially true for our regional campus students who are more likely to be non-traditional. I too often hear about poor and sometimes inconsiderate service to our regional campus students by our main campus employees. A student on one of our 3 regional campuses is every bit as important as students here in Bowling Green. We need intrusive advising. Please take your concerns to a student when you see the beginning signs of a struggle. I'm also concerned about the value of remedial courses. Are they really helping students succeed, or are we losing students when they go home after their first semester with only 3 or 6 hours of course credit. If you're a first-generation student, Mom and Dad are likely to tell you just to stay home if that's all you're going to get for a semester's tuition, and that happens. Let's take our University Experience course to the high schools. Wouldn't it have greater benefit if high school seniors took it for dual credit and arrived on campus as better prepared college freshmen? Let's think about that. We're owners of a public trust at WKU. Parents trust us with their sons and daughters. The Commonwealth trusts us to educate as much of our population as possible and drive the state's economy. The federal government trusts us to handle our affairs in a fair and equitable and compliant manner. And the public trusts us to ensure a safe, high-quality life for those within reach of all 4 of our campuses. I want to hit a couple of themes this morning that relate to this public trust. The first is that we are still about creating productive citizens. And the second is that we must focus more intently on service to our students. Colleges and universities are in it for the long term. They've existed for centuries. And yes, we've changed with the times, but a large measure of our core values, and in many cases our traditions, have been sustained for generations. I saw an interesting quote recently in an article about Steve Jobs. And the point was that Apple is a nice little enterprise, but Stanford will be thriving in 200 years, while Apple will be a historic footnote. It's a good analogy because WKU will be here in 200 years also. How well we survive the next couple of hundred years will actually be determined by how we thrive over the next decade. It seems that most of today's headlines about higher education claim a disproportionate correlation between higher education and placing graduates in jobs. When so-called experts and journalists spend so much time talking about the inherent problems in providing higher education and the fortunes and misfortunes of job statistics, they almost certainly discourage some teenagers from going to college and some adults from going back to complete a degree. This may be particularly true on our regional campuses, where a job is the primary goal. The decision not to attend or finish college for fear that it is a bad deal is among the most economically irrational decisions anyone can make. Yes, college is expensive. And yes, WKU has a significant cost, although it is not nearly as expensive as some other public higher education options in Kentucky and beyond. We are still a great value. I'm as focused as anybody on our role as an economic driver for our region, and I embrace the opportunity to partner with business and industry to develop talent, job placement. However, we should not be the sole reason for pursuing, those factors should not be the sole reason for pursuing a higher education. An article in the Chronicle of Higher Education about a recent study by the Lumina Foundation and the Gallup organization attempted to link 2 important variables in higher education. First is what employers seek in our graduates, and second is what we need to be doing for our students while they are with us. Interestingly enough, what employers want and what we provide at WKU are rather closely linked. This suggests that a large majority of employers are looking for college graduates with broadly applicable skills like oral and written communication, the capacity to think critically, solve complex problems, take responsibility, and innovate, as well as people who demonstrate ethical, judgment, and integrity. Specific experience in a given industry and often a specific degrees rank lower on the scale of important employment traits to most hiring officials. This is good to know because higher education must first be about educating the student in ways that go beyond the classroom. I'll tell parents of incoming students every spring and every summer that I'm confident that their sons and daughters will get the skill sets necessary for their chosen discipline. Our faculty are going to make sure of that. But I'm also equally confident that at WKU, they will learn those behaviors that just might allow them to be hired in the first place. And yes, those behaviors start with the WKU spirit of confidence, energy, self-esteem, and heart. These qualities which employers tell us they seek, are taught well here on our campus. The ability to communicate, think, and reason, and a sense of ethics and drive and determination come not just from a single class, but from a thoughtful and purposeful education. In large measure, they are what the Colonnade General Education curriculum is all about. To the extent that these skills can be woven into experiential learning and creative problem solving in our courses, we will be preparing our graduates not just for the employment interview or for their first job, but for a lifetime that will very likely involve multiple career changes. Historian William Cronin has written that education should aspire to nurture the growth of human talent in the service of human freedom. And he is right. Our responsibility is not just to teach students calculus and U.S. history, but to help them answer the question of what kind of life might be meaningful, productive, and rewarding. This is why we have service learning here at WKU. This is why our students study abroad, and this is why our WKU Spirit serves not only our students, but also employers and communities across our region and people across this globe. George Koo, who directed my dissertation at Indiana University 37 years ago, and who is a prolific researcher and noted author in How and Why Students Learn, says that it starts with finding passionate, engaged professors. This is what is critically important in the first year of college. Fully engaged faculty is what leads to student success. His findings suggest that 2 out of every 5 freshmen say they've never discussed ideas from readings or classes with a faculty member outside of class. 3 of 5 freshmen say they never worked with professors on activities other than coursework. The most engaged students on campus, Koo says, are those who take part in deep approaches to their learning, meaning they are active participants in their intellectual pursuits rather than students who simply take notes in a class. An important measure of active learning, according to Koo, is time on task. Rigor often makes a difference, but only if the faculty are engaged with students. He also has determined that 2 of the other activities that develop the skills of the future also require deep, active learning: undergraduate research and study abroad. We've touched on one, and I'm going to touch on the other in just a moment. Recently, I was in a discussion with Kim Tharpberry, a vice president for Norton Healthcare in Louisville, an important partner in support of our nursing program. And she said that Norton is looking for nurses, of course, but more importantly, they are looking for smart, kind, nice people with high ethical and moral values. The theme struck me, since she makes the employment decisions for Norton Healthcare, but her theme in her words, because nice matters. I also have a small wood carving given to me by one of our regents, which coincidentally says, because nice matters. Philip Bell gave me that when he became a member of our Board of Regents. We nurture the intellect, but we also need to ensure that our graduates are kind and nice and ethical and morally sound. If we're doing our jobs and they have some level of innate drive, then they will be driven to succeed with energy and confidence. In other words, we need to build this emotional intelligence in our students as well as their scholastic abilities. It is incumbent upon all of us to engage our students in ways that build such intangible skill sets. One of the articles I read this year was a publication called Great Service Matters. This article is about the role of caring in retention. A second similar article talked about academic hospitality as the key to great service and retention, and let me elaborate. Studies have found that one of the top reasons why students leave a college or university is because they believe the school does not care about them as individuals. This is an emotional response to the way they feel that they are treated as on a college or university campus. And if we are to increase our retention, and Lord knows we must, we need to discover what often drives students out the door. A serious misunderstanding that exists on most campuses, including our own, is that service to students and treating students with hospitality somehow is unsavory. Colleges and universities provide some level of service and hospitality every day in the classrooms and offices across campus, and even through physical facilities across our campus. It must, however, be woven into the fabric if it is to affect how students react, particularly students in that fragile first year. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds and low family incomes have such a thin margin for persistence. The first failed class, or the first missed billing, or the first discouraging word often sends them packing. We can prevent the reasons why many of our students leave early in their first year and fail to persist. We must make sure that whatever we do well, and that we approach our jobs with a strong sense of attitude, a service attitude, because when we don't, we know they will leave. Excellence is reflected in small but meaningful ways. It is important that we keep the campus neat, attractive, comfortable, clean, and functioning. And when a student comes by the office looking for help, we need to stop what we're doing and help solve the problem. Be the last one out of your classroom so that you can be there to answer a question about the day's lessons. I often have students drop in my office, sometimes unannounced, with a problem. And yes, I may be fully engaged and focused on a particular matter, maybe even a serious matter. Sometimes they're not so serious. But invariably, I put down what I'm doing and I try to focus on what that student needs. Sometimes it's a simple solution. They just don't know where to go to get the solution. We know college is stressful. Let's do all we can to help every student navigate through to graduation. We must keep consistent office hours, make sure we engage students, ask them questions, and take a personal interest. When a student misses a class, follow up and ask why. We're all responsible for providing services to our students. After all, they do indeed pay our bills. And it should not be lost on any of us that a 1% improvement in our retention rate would mean a couple of $1 million in budget growth. And what about that word hospitality? Of making a student feel he or she is welcome. In a campus restaurant, in a residence hall, in a classroom, or anywhere else across the university, hospitality is the way we make certain that our students feel appreciated and valued. I encourage you to be out and about. Make it your business to know our campus and frequent it as often as possible. Interact with students as you encounter them. Our students must know that we care about them and they are important to us. So let's tell them so. We provide a multitude of student services and we should strive to make them as excellent as possible. Students have many higher education options these days, and I want WKU to be the campus of choice and the place where students transfer to rather than transfer from. Back to that survey about why students leave a college or university. Far and away, the reason students leave a school and where a school loses a major source of revenue is that they felt the school did not care about them. Students in this particular survey expressed clearly that they felt that the college worked hard to recruit and enroll them, but once they got there, the college just assumed they would stay and did little to show them that they cared about them actually being there. A full 25% felt the school let them down and didn't care about them or their personal success. Poor service accounted to 23% of the reasons why they left. These two categories, lack of individual attention and poor service, account for 48% of their responses, and these are both academic service and hospitality needs. Note how finances, schedule, personal grades, and educational quality are much lower on the scale of why students leave than other factors that are within our control. And while we're focused on service and hospitality, let's ensure that WKU is a campus that embraces all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. I have reached out to our city commission and formally requested that they adopt a fairness ordinance for the city of Bowling Green that recognizes equal treatment for all who live here. We often use the word family to describe the WKU experience, and if that is to ring true, equal treatment must be held as a personal responsibility by everyone within our family. Higher education is under attack on multiple fronts these days. The federal government is weighing in with college rankings based on employability of graduates, but there's now a major focus on Title IX compliance, specifically how we deal with sexual assault, particularly among students. And while our first effort is to prevent it from happening in the first place, it may happen in a community of 21,000 students and 2,500 full-time employees and another 1,000 part-time employees. A few weeks ago, I sent an email to you regarding the proper handling of sexual assault, including reporting, investigation, and disciplinary action. New policies have gone into effect over the summer. Hootie Melke is currently serving as our Title IX coordinator, and several individuals representing various units across campus are serving as deputy coordinators. Their names and departments are listed on the screen. These individuals are accountable, and they may be called upon to assist in investigations that may be very time-consuming. So they are devoting serious time commitments to this new portion of their job duties. We must all make ourselves aware of such matters and ensure our campus is compliant with the expectations of the Federal Office of Civil Rights. If anyone becomes aware of any mental, physical misconduct, it must be reported, regardless of position or title. There are mandatory reporting guidelines now in effect, and I cannot say it in any stronger terms that we must not let unfortunate things occur and fail to properly address them. Unfortunate things will occur. It's what we do about it that matters. If you know about something, you must report it regardless of relationships. Failure to report is a serious matter that can put our federal funding in jeopardy. Students may be reluctant, but employees, faculty, and staff cannot be reluctant to report any incident involving sexual assault, misconduct, or any other mental or physical mistreatment about which you might be aware. Contact HUDA or any of the other deputy coordinators. Incident report forms are online. Any incident must be reported within 24 hours of your learning about it. We must all assume responsibility and get involved if we become aware of an incident. It's the right thing to do. But now the failure to do so has federal implications, both legal and financial. Failure to comply could lead to loss of up to 1% of the university's budget. I also want to say something about depression. Colleges are challenging. Students face many challenges, but college should not be overwhelming. Students are experiencing a lot of change at this time in their lives. Depression is an illness and leads to loss of motivation, energy, and passion for learning. And when the depression is severe, it can lead to thoughts of suicide. Unfortunately, we experience more than our share of suicides in recent years. Students may not know where to get help when they are depressed. We have a counseling center staffed with licensed professional counselors and psychologists, and Graves Gilbert now has a psychiatrist on staff, and those services are confidential. But they are only rendered when students come forward or an employee communicates with those who are in a position to help. So please, be on the lookout for signs of depression in our students and lead them to get the help they need. Many of you may have attended a recent campus forum led by the Department of Human Resources, and you will have the opportunity to attend additional forums in the weeks and months ahead as we introduce major changes in our self-funded employee health plan. I want to extend my compliments to our Benefits Committee for its hard work in continuing to make sure our health insurance and wellness programs are both valued by our employees and are as affordable as possible. Under our self-funded model, the university essentially functions as the insurance company, with university employee premiums contributing to the sole funding of our self-insurance program. In this regard, we are renewing our commitment to being a healthy campus that engages the mind, the body, and the WKU spirit. Each one of us must focus more on preventive behavior, and I support the proposed idea for creating incentives that reward healthy behavior, which over time will help keep our costs in check. We're also working to run our self-funded insurance program as efficiently as possible with features and partnerships that are consistent with best practices. Our objective is to maintain an employee health plan that contains provisions and benefits that are appropriate, cost-effective, and market competitive. Some of the changes being proposed for 2015 will also help mitigate the impact of an excise tax under the Affordable Care Act, which is looming in 2018. I encourage you to become engaged in our Healthy Campus initiative and look for additional details as information is provided by Human Resources in the future. The university invested over $1 million in added employee funding in the current year, and we're likely to do so again next year. We're working very hard to minimize additional costs to the employees. One surefire way to do that is to make it as easy as possible for all of us to live a healthier life. And we can do a few simple things. Learn where you stand with your health. Take steps to eat right and get more physically active. Ask about costs when you go to the doctor and the pharmacy. Each action, no matter how small, will make a difference for you and for our university community. One very important matter that will run its course this year is our SACS, Commission on Colleges reaccreditation process. Yeah, we're at it again, every 10 years. The on-site team will be here in April. Much work has been performed to ensure that our reaffirmation is clean and without concern. Thank you to the team in academic affairs and all cross campus working hard to get ready. Provost Emsley, Richard Miller, Sylvia Geico, Doug McElroy, Beth Lavis, and a host of others have been working hard. And thanks also for bringing our new quality enhancement plan into action between now and then. Each of you received a handout as you entered today, and we will be building awareness and understanding of our new QEP starting this fall. Another significant change, indeed improvement, relates to our July 1 transition into Conference USA. All of our men's and women's teams will compete with a rich combination of peer institutions, and Conference USA will have further enhanced our WKU national brand. Equally important are Conference USA's CBS and Fox television contracts, which will enhance our visibility and create more revenue for the athletic department, which is challenged every day to be relevant, competitive, successful, and on budget. Both the classroom and competitive both in the classroom and in athletic competition. Conference USA also provides the opportunity to compete for 5 different bowl contracts and a couple of backup agreements should the conference have more than 5 bowl-eligible teams in a given season, and we hope to be among them. This is only our 3rd athletic conference over the last 65 years, so we make the change with every intention of being as successful in our new athletic home as we were in the Ohio Valley Conference and the Sun Belt Conference. Once again, and it is a recurring theme this morning, change, adapt, remain relevant, and put our students in the best possible position to be successful. Athletics, like all of higher education, are dealing with considerable change these days. Some of it not so good. It's mostly about money. But I and my colleagues in Conference USA and beyond are fighting to sustain the intercollegiate model of amateurism and the importance of keeping the student in the student-athlete equation. Looking to the future, I see a number of matters that will require our focused attention. We must build our budget capacity with growth and retention, better campus business practices, more philanthropy and research support, and hopefully improved state appropriations, although recent history has not been a good harbinger of that. Tuition increases will remain modest. We must enhance faculty and staff salaries. I am fully aware of this being of the utmost importance. The best, most likely way to address salaries is with an improved state higher education funding model that rewards performance. Such a model is getting considerable attention these days. I'm fully engaged, so is Ann Mead, so is Gordon Emsley. Such a model will serve WKU well if we can get such a model in place over the course of the coming year. We must continue to grow our enrollment and graduation numbers. Retaining students will be the best, most effective, and most controllable way to do that. But we must also increase our new student populations in traditional ways with Kentucky residents, domestic out-of-state students, international students, transfer students, and online students. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to every one of our 9 Joint Admissions Agreement KCTCS campuses, plus Ivy Tech in Indiana, and Vol State in Gallatin, Tennessee, to meet with second-year students on those campuses about transferring to WKU. All of these strategies are in play, and we must dedicate ourselves to resuming an enrollment growth profile for WKU. At the same time, we have to improve our graduation rate through better retention. I had great experiences over the last week or so. Yesterday afternoon, I spoke to the senior class at Trinity High School in Louisville. Craig Cobain and I were talking to a student with a 36 perfect ACT in that Trinity senior class. Last week, other than the Gatton Academy, probably the best high school in Kentucky, Manual High School invited me to speak to their senior class on their opening day of classes. The average ACT for the Manual High School senior class is 26.1. We want those students at WKU. Over the next few years, it will be incumbent upon us to focus on institutional strengths. We have tried in recent years to grow our research profile with some success. I am convinced, however, that our best niche is undergraduate research. Our undergraduate students gain great value from engagement with faculty and meaningful research, both here and abroad, and this is what sets us apart from our competitor institutions. We will also, over the next few years, continue our focus on the establishment of relevant terminal degrees across our colleges. Kentucky needs more employees with advanced degrees in practice-based disciplines, and we intend to provide those where we have institutional strengths and the capacity to do so. Finally, I want to call your attention to a number of campus projects, both completed and currently underway. The new adult student apartments on Kentucky Street are a great addition to our residential life portfolio. And next week, finally, we will officially dedicate and cut the ribbon on the new Downing Student Union, which will be the heartbeat of student life at WKU, and what a magnificent transformation of that building that is now about to be wrapped up. And thank you for your patience over the last 2 years. It has been a very complex project to actually renovate a building while we're still using parts of it, but you're going to love the end result. The Honors College and International Center is well underway, and we're beginning the process of design work and construction of a new science building and an improved Thompson Complex Center wing. We'll also begin work in the coming year through a private gift to expand the Gatton Academy. And while not a WKU project, next spring we will welcome the opening of the new Hyatt Place Hotel adjacent to the Augustine Alumni Center. We've worked closely with the developers to make this long-awaited project a reality. We are grateful for the serious investment they have made at both ends of our campus with the Staybridge Suites and now the Hyatt Place. We look forward to the Hyatt Place opening in April, and I encourage all who use university funds to accommodate overnight guests to utilize these two properties to the extent possible. I challenge you to determine what you are doing to help WKU achieve its vision to be a leading American university with international reach. We will do our best as a campus to support you. We will strive to ensure an environment that is inspiring and conducive to academic success, to create proper intellectual and student life space, to give our students a high quality of life, and to work to generate the resources necessary for you to do what you do best. One of my themes this morning is to challenge us to approach academic and student life with a service mentality. There is no room for complacency at WKU. Teaching and learning requires action and energy. The delivery of services, the addressing of students' intellectual, personal, psychological, and financial needs requires action on our part. No prospective or current student should ever find us inattentive or uninterested in him or her as an individual. We may not be able to accommodate every student need or request, but we should always be responsive and thoughtful, and whenever possible, provide solutions. Recently, I learned about Robbie Borman, a civil engineering student from Owensboro, who was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer almost 2 years ago. Doctors told him he had only 6 to 18 months to live and suggested that he spend that time with his family. But he opted instead to continue his classes at WKU. Through chemotherapy and radiation, Robbie persisted. He was within one course of completing his degree when the cancer got to a point that he was unable to continue. Engineering department head Julie Ellis contacted me quickly. We reached out to others across campus to help make Robbie's dream of earning his degree a reality. Within 24 hours, we approved his graduation, printed a WKU diploma, which was presented to Robbie in a ceremony at hospice in Owensboro 2 weeks ago today. This is from Matt Detman. His family was incredibly appreciative, and Robbie was so happy and proud. He can't speak or move much, but he managed to say that this was the biggest accomplishment of his life. Thanks, Matt and Julie and folks in the registrar's office, everyone who took a personal interest. This is the WKU spirit. This is why we are in the dream business. Let's try to prevent as many dreams from getting cut short as possible. For 17 years, I've preached that we are not concerned about what may be occurring on other campuses around us. Rather, we must be obsessed with us, with this WKU enterprise, and be diligent in the pursuit of what we are capable of becoming as a university community. Let us focus every day on graduating our students. We must be the producers of talent, of ideals, and innovation, and we should take pride in what our students achieve and how our campus and our community are enhanced by what we do. Prospective employers seek a community with an educated, skilled, and productive workforce and a high quality of life. And that's what they find here in Bowling Green and Warren County. And we do make a difference, not only in this community, but in Owensboro, Elizabethtown, and Glasgow, and everything within our reach across Kentucky and beyond. My message this morning has been about change and adaptation. Let's seek new ways of organizing and structuring and learning. Continuous innovation means that we're constantly changing, evolving, and growing. Let's make WKU into the greatest possible asset we can be for our students, for our region, for our alumni, and for our own selves in our personal and professional lives. In closing, our institutional transformation remains a work in progress. While we have achieved many measures that validate changes and improvements to our campus in recent years, they only set the stage for the future, which starts when classes begin on Monday. Each and every one of you is a valued member of the WKU family, and each of our students is equally important. Let's all dedicate ourselves to doing everything we can to ensure that students persist and graduate in a reasonable period of time. And I want to thank you in advance for everything that you will do to handle the expected and the unexpected this coming year. There's a Chinese proverb that says, a student's life is like a piece of paper on which every teacher leaves its mark. So I challenge each member of our faculty and our staff to leave your personal mark on every student with whom you interact. Thank you for the progress you will make this year. Let's have a fantastic year. Thank you very much. I would now like to call Provost Emsley to the podium to extend faculty awards. Gordon?
Thank you, Gary. Good morning. Welcome back to another academic year. The furtherance of any university's academic mission, its student-centered focus, the value of its scholarship and creative pursuits, and its relationships with the surrounding community are to an enormous extent attributed to the skills, effort, and dedication of its faculty. Today we recognize a select group of WKU faculty members who have gone above and beyond the expectations of their positions, who have pushed the envelope in advancing their teaching, their student advising, their scholarship and creative activity, and their public service. We recognize individual awards in 4 categories: teaching, the dissemination of knowledge to our students; research, creative activity, the creation of new knowledge and ideas; public service, advancing the role of the university within our communities; and student advisement, working with our students to maximize and ensure their success. Our award recipients today have been nominated by their peers and selected through committees in each of the colleges, and finally by a university-wide committee. I invite them to join President Ransdell on the stage as their names are announced. The 2014 University Award for Teaching goes to Dr. Summer Batea, an assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics. Dr. Batea earned her PhD in instructional leadership and academic curriculum, with an emphasis in mathematics education from the University of Oklahoma in 2010, and she joined WKU the same year. In teaching, Dr. Batea strives to inspire her students to become autonomous mathematical thinkers and to use mathematical thinking to problem solve in the world outside of the classroom. One student noted Dr. Batea's methods, teaching philosophy, and the way she cares for her students is absolutely praiseworthy. I left her class feeling as though I can make a true positive difference in this world. Dr. Batea could not be with us today, so receiving the award on her behalf is Dr. Bruce Kessler, Department Head of Mathematics and lead guitarist. The 2014 University Award for Research and Creative Pursuits goes to Dr. Rizal Mahmood. Dr. Mahmood is a professor in the Department of Geography and Geology. He earned his PhD in Geography Climatology from the University of Oklahoma in 1999 and joined WKU in 2001. Dr. Mahmood is a member of the National Climate Assessment Development Advisory Committee, as you heard earlier, a federal committee that advises both the President and the U.S. Congress. Dr. Mahmood served as editor of the American Geophysical Union's Earth Transactions and is co-director of WKU's High Performance Computing Center. A former student remarked, Dr. Mahmood is an excellent educator who is passionate about teaching and mentoring students and who is fully invested in fostering his students' intellectual growth. Rizal. The 2014 University Award for Public Service goes to Dr. Brian Reka. Dr. Reka is an associate professor in the Department of Architectural and Manufacturing Sciences. He earned his PhD in workforce education from Southern Illinois University in 2002, and upon his arrival at WKU 1 year later, he founded the Habitat for Humanity campus chapter, through which he leads challenge trips both domestically and abroad. Dr. Reka has served on the Warren County Habitat for Humanity Board of Directors and advises various campus organizations such as the National Association of Home Builders, Hilltoppers for Life, and the student chapter of the Association of Technology Management and Applied Engineering. One colleague noted, to say that Brian is passionate about his work is an understatement. He continues to engage students in real-world activities that help them become better members of society.
He's got the best mustache in America.
The 2014 University Award for Student Advisement goes to Dr. Grace Larty. Dr. Larty is an associate professor in the Department of Public Health. She earned her degree in community health education from the University of Toledo in 2006 and joined WKU that same year. She is currently the director of both undergraduate and graduate public health programs. Her colleagues commend her commitment to advising and mentoring students as being well beyond what is expected. One colleague remarked, "Dr. Lardy treats all students fairly and gives each student what they need. Whether it's pushing them to reach their potential, building confidence, listening, or identifying financial and/or social resources students need to succeed, Dr. Lardy will spend countless hours counseling and caring for her students." Dr. Lardy. At the most recent Board of Regents meeting in July, upon the recommendation of President Ransdell, the board unanimously agreed to confer the university's highest academic honor, the University Distinguished Professorship, on a faculty member who had been nominated for this distinction and recommended by a university-wide committee. Dr. Beverly Segrist has been provided dedicated service at WKU for more than 25 years. During her tenure as the graduate program coordinator in nursing, the number of students has grown from 36 to over 200. Dr. Segrist has also advised numerous students in our educational leadership doctoral program, and she is a mentor to several junior faculty members. She has played a variety of important service roles on the University Senate, the Graduate Council, and on various COC committees. Notably, Dr. Segrist played a lead role in the development and implementation of WKU's second professional doctorate program, the Doctor of Nursing Practice, which graduated its first students this May. The Executive Chief Nursing Officer at Vanderbilt University, Dr. Marilyn Dubree, cites Dr. Segrist's steady career of leadership and achievement in nursing education, research, and service. She adds that Dr. Segrist has actively advanced the profession of nursing through her presentation and publications, and that her commitment to education and the health of communities is evident in her entire body of work. Dr. Segrist. Thank you. Have a great year.
For the balance of our awards, I will start with the President's Award for Diversity. This award is an initiative set forth by the university to recognize and reward a WKU student, employee, and a member of the community for contributing exemplary leadership and achievement in advancing diversity at WKU or communities served by WKU. This award is intended to encourage creativity, dialogue, and action through advocacy, role modeling, scholarship, and service. The first is the Community Award. A former WKU regent, Jim Johnson, displays his dedication and passion for the underprivileged population in the city of Bowling Green without expecting anything in return. Among many things, through his service on the Warren County Library Board, Jim donated a significant amount of his time and energy to institute the relocation of the old Sugar Maple Square Library to Graham Avenue so that the young neighborhood children, as well as the senior residents, could have the opportunity to visit and learn. Jim has also sponsored several successful events, such as the Housing Authority of Bowling Green Senior Valentine's Dance and the Senior Prom. This allowed senior residents to enjoy a night of music, food, dancing, and all through Jim's donation. Each participant's attire was accented with beautiful corsages and boutonnieres. He also contributed to the enhancement of the activities of the Housing Authority's after-school program. For example, his support enabled the program's participants to enjoy cultural and performance arts experiences such as the Kentucky Orchestra's Songs of Love concert, the WKU Orchestra concerts, and several shows at the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center. Additionally, Jim was instrumental in bringing the Tuskegee Airmen exhibit to Bowling Green. In general, Mr. Jim Johnson is a consistent supporter of our community and all who live in it, and particularly for this university. Jim Johnson, come on up. The Student Award, Andrew Salmon. A devoted student activist and leader, Andrew Salmon is a tremendous asset to diversity efforts on campus and in the community. Through student identity outreach, he created the Campus Pride Index Committee to petition for WKU's participation in the index, and through Andrew's initiative, the WKU Student Government Association passed a resolution in support of the Campus Pride Index at WKU. Additionally, he has collaborated with university entities on event organization, including Transgender Day of Remembrance in 2013, as well as Beyond DOMA, D-O-M-A, a panel discussion with the ACLU of Kentucky. The Vagina Monologues, Safe Space Training. He has also created and spearheaded the Fairness on Fountain Square campaign, which recruited downtown businesses to endorse a local fairness ordinance and to display stickers in the windows showing that support. Andrew worked with a statewide fairness campaign to create stickers and generate publicity for a very successful launch, which was covered in social media, local print, and television news. Fairness on Fountain Square has continued to thrive, moving beyond downtown to the wider business community and building alliances with local professionals, as well as businesses which proudly display the logo and endorse a fairness ordinance. He executed the project beautifully, communicated its importance effectively, and built support in the community for the idea that fairness is good for people and for businesses. Andrew Salmon's dedication shows that he is energetic and devoted to promoting diversity on our campus, in our community, and across our nation. Andrew Salmon. The Employee Award goes to Omitha Das. For over 20 years, Omitha Das has distinguished herself personally and professionally as a highly effective and respected advocate for diverse students by ensuring that they have knowledge and support about their financial needs and subsistence as they enter and matriculate through college. Through her position in the Office of Student Financial Assistance, she comes in contact with people from varying backgrounds and cultures. But what makes Omitha so special is that no matter who the person is, she works diligently to ensure that they leave here feeling respected and supported. It is not uncommon to see her walking with a student and their family members to personally connect them with a critical resource across our campus. Going above and beyond the call of duty, she volunteers her time and willingly accepts invitations to provide information to diverse students and parents about financial matters and college attendance, making sure that each has a full understanding and a sense of comfort. Frequently around campus, you may hear many diverse students and families singing her praises. In a quiet way, she consistently illustrates commitment to helping create an inclusive, equitable, and supportive campus. Omitha is a change agent who makes significant contributions to the lives of many through her efforts to assist all prospective and current students, especially the underrepresented populations, while forging their path in higher education. Essentially, Omitha Das is an amazing individual with an engaging spirit who consistently gives unselfishly of her time and knowledge to promote, support, and encourage. Many individuals who come in contact with Mrs. Omitha Das concur that she is a natural mentor and a friendly, welcoming presence for everyone she encounters. Omitha. Next is the President's Award for Sustainability. The President's Award for Sustainability honors individuals who exhibit excellence in supporting WKU's commitment to sustainability. Such efforts include demonstrating exemplary practices and sharing solutions, incorporating sustainability into existing programs, and implementing innovative ideas. The faculty and staff winner this year is Dr. Kevin Schmaltz. Dr. Kevin Schmaltz joined WKU Engineering in its early days in 2002, before the first class of engineers had graduated. Engineering freshmen fear him, engineering seniors love him. More than 8 years ago, Dr. Schmaltz completed a feasibility study to determine whether the supply of waste vegetable oil from WKU dining could effectively and efficiently be transformed into a fuel source that could power big machines on the WKU farm. The study determined that the campus supply of vegetable oil could support the farm's annual needs of about 3,000 gallons of fuel. So Dr. Schmaltz decided to lead by doing, and the work began. Dr. Schmaltz worked closely with Dr. Jack Randolph, head of the WKU Department of Agriculture, and engaged others by involving 15 students in 4 different teams to use this as their senior engineering project. The very first WKU biodiesel was produced in spring 2012, and since then, more than 2,500 gallons of biodiesel has been produced. This project, led by Dr. Schmaltz, provides an extraordinary rich learning opportunity for WKU students in both engineering and agriculture. This is the most complex project that WKU Engineering has ever attempted, and Dr. Schmaltz has shown persistence, commitment, and creativity to making it successful. He is the heart of this project. His energy, intellect, and enthusiasm to this project have contributed greatly to promoting WKU's commitment to sustainability. Dr. Kevin Schmaltz. Got a bottle of vegetable oil right around the seat. Elizabeth McGrew, the student recipient. A graduate assistant committed to developing sustainable ways of living, Beth McGrew has an amazing ability to reach out and touch others. Beth works tirelessly to promote campus community engagement initiatives. One of Beth's projects, the Community Garden, involves significant collaboration and leadership on her part. This project includes 4 outcomes: to demonstrate best practices in sustainable land use, to test the variables of affordability and accessibility as obstacles to fresh, healthy food, to ensure that the product is community-driven, and to create a viable collaborative effort that will encourage the continued success of the project. The vision is to use the Sustainability House and the landscape as a living laboratory, identifying and utilizing best practices, providing practical research opportunities for students and faculty, conducting workshops, hosting educational events, and encouraging engagement in community space. To provide a structure and to ensure the long-term sustainability of the project, Beth founded the student organization Project Grow, under which student fellows would continue to be engaged in the management of the project. Beth's project is remarkable in its depth of planning, degree of collaboration, and student engagement, and potential for positive impact. And Julie has some tomato plants and some jalapeno plants in that garden, I might add. Beth is extraordinary in her passion for and commitment to creating a living, learning landscape that will engage, educate, inspire, and encourage community and sustainability. Come on up, Beth. And finally, the Spirit of Western Award. This award is in recognition of someone that represents WKU in a distinguished manner and dedicates his or her career with passion consistent with the vision, mission, and spirit of this university. You've already seen him a couple times this morning. Dr. Bruce Kessler is head of the Department of Mathematics. He has served as Assistant Dean of Ogden College of Science and Engineering. He enters his 23rd year at WKU. He has represented WKU at numerous events, recruiting students to mathematics, to STEM disciplines, and to WKU. He continually supports various WKU internal and external activities and events, as well as accepting invitations to go to schools to talk about mathematics. Dr. Kessler has spent 3 weeks each summer for almost 20 years teaching mathematics in Vampy, a 3-week program for 7th through 10th graders sponsored by the Center for Gifted Studies. Dr. Kessler's research has taken two directions: mathematical modeling and mathematics education. His work has led to some publications and some patent-pending spectral analysis software utilizing wavelet theory called peaklet analysis. You want me to explain that? Yeah. We do have the patent on that. Cool. Bruce has developed a textbook for the Gatton Academy, a Math 117 trigonometry course that has been used by several faculty teaching those courses. In 2006, Bruce wrote and hosted a TV program for our WKU cable network called Math Matters. Why do I need to know this? It's a good question. Most recently, Bruce has developed a series of 6 comic books that have math content appropriate for 4th through 6th graders woven into the storyline called Operation Comics. Dr. Kessler exemplifies the WKU spirit, whether he is leading the Big Red Barking Unit in the annual homecoming parade. The Precision Grill and Drill Team. Excuse me, okay. The Precision Grill and Drill Team. And I get a hamburger at the end of every parade. I love it. Every policeman on route gets a hamburger. Cool. And talking about comic books, he wrote to interest children in mathematics, playing and singing in the Mount Victor Revue. What a job. Or staying up all night leading the cooking of pork at his church's annual pig picking. You got this cooking thing going on. The Mount Victor Revue performs frequently at the Mellow Mushroom and at various venues around town, including right here in Van Meter Auditorium earlier this morning. Bruce plays and sings at the Presbyterian Church on various occasions as well. Dr. Kessler is a willing volunteer. He is gracious and fun to be with. Dr. Kessler is an excellent candidate for the WKU Spirit Award, and I'm honored to present it to him this morning. Congratulations, Bruce. Thank you very much. You've been very attentive. I'm grateful. Let's have a fantastic year. Go Tops!